Good afternoon, all, and welcome to this extremely interesting session on a 90-day prep plan for executing an ERP initiative. My name is Kumar Malampalli. I am partner and co-founder at Ranbrook IT Consulting. I have over 30 years of industry experience in IT with in various domains such as consulting, program management, marketing, business intelligence across multiple industries. I have headed large delivery organizations across ERP, emerging technologies, digital, collaborative, and product development. And I've also managed international teams across 7 time zones for long periods of time in airlines and automotive verticals. I'll be joined today by my esteemed colleagues, and between us, we have more than 120 years of ERP experience. So we hope to share at least a little bit of that with you in the limited time that we have. And I look forward to a lot of interesting questions and a very, very interesting conversation. So, what we're going to be talking about today is what are those essential steps to take before investing in an ERP system? Even if you're not looking at investing in an ERP system right away, I think it's extremely important for you to keep these considerations in mind because it applies equally well to any kind of decision or management process that you may establish around your ERP. We will talk about common challenges that organizations face during the preparatory phase and how to fix them, how to proactively address such challenges. We'll talk about a practical 90-day roadmap on some key considerations which make sure that any ERP initiative is successful. And of course, who are those key stakeholders, the core team that you need to align early in the process to ensure success. I'll be joined by some really, really experienced speakers. Shrikant Ramakrishnan Shri heads our Middle East and Africa operations. He's highly experienced. He has headed the ERP practice in multiple organizations and has deep experience working in technology, ERP, and services. His deep skills in requirement analysis, global delivery, software project management, ERP, and IT strategy and integration will help us gain a lot of insights today. And he's also done a senior management program on business administration management from Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. I'm also joined by another colleague of mine, Marcus Marstenstein. He is based out of Germany. And he is our regional director for Europe, and he's been advising clients across the region on procurement and purchasing decisions on various technologies over the last 5 years. Before that, he was heading our ERP sales in Europe, and before that, for 15 years, he worked with a large ERP OEM. So he brings deep insights on both the OEM side of ERP as well as the services and customer side of ERP because he's again a customer facing person and a strategic account manager for the European region. He has a lot of practical experience on concept development, implementation for new business areas and new markets. Welcome, Marcus.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we also have a very, very deeply hands-on, extremely technical person. Nitish Ravanath is our technical solutions architect based out of Dubai. And he heads solution advisory and customer-facing engagements out of Dubai. So he has deep experience engaging and solving and fixing customer problems over the last dozen plus years in impactful solutions across Epicor ERP as well as Microsoft technologies. And he's combined this deep expertise of consultancy, implementation, architecture to help organizations truly transform their ERP systems. From being a system of transaction to a system of business transformation, I think he has seen multiple such transformations happen over a period of his presence over the last many, many years working at customer locations. He's been involved in rolling out our ERP cloud in joint partnership with the OEM, empowering businesses across the region and moving them to the cloud, as well as, of course, empowering the on-prem customers as well. He's very passionate about innovation, efficiency, and he collaborates with our rest of our architecture team, our cloud operations team to derive tangible results and make sure that customers achieve success every time. Welcome, Nitish.
Thank you.
And I look forward to a extremely interesting and fulfilling 1 hour with each one of you. Um, let's start quickly because there's a lot of ground to cover, and I'm not sure how much of it we will be able to cover in the next whatever 50 odd minutes that we have. First and foremost, right? Before you finalize an ERP project, you need to set your plans in place. You need to think through what you're going to do. So I just want from each one of you, what are those most critical things that you should keep in mind in the first 90 days before you actually start an ERP? I'll start with you, Shri, and then we'll go around because I think this is something that each one of you will bring a very interesting perspective.
Yeah, we see this day in and day out on multiple customer front while they're about to finalize the ERP. Thank you, Kumar. I will take a very broader outline and give a pillar of a framework so that it is useful and extendable for the audience as well. So it revolves around three key pillars. One is your people dimension, second is your process dimension, fourth is your data and technology dimension. So this is how I would like to look at it. When you look at it through a people prism or a people dimension, the executive commitment, the change management, the people related must be aligned very clearly in terms of what they want to do and how they want to do. That is a dimension you should look at it. And as a second step, process. What is your as-is process and how do you want to take it to the to-be process? That is something you should have a clear idea. Last not but the least, the data and technology. Go with a contemporary technology. Anything on the cloud or based on your appetite, you go for it. And data is something very, very crucial. Data is new oil. That's what people say. So look at them very keenly because that's what is going to help you to take your decision. So these three dimensions are quite essential before you finalize any ERP, and you must plan it. Look at it from a phased approach. Getting an executive commitment as a phase one, phase two, probably take a fit gap analysis, probably a cleaning up of data, so on and so forth. Take phase three in terms of your technology part, your business continuity program, your disaster recovery management, and your overall analytical requirement. That's how I would like to put it in a very clear way. Yeah, that's it, Kumar.
Perfect, perfect. Very insightful point, Shri. And Marcus, would you like to add something?
Yeah, in principle, exactly. I mean, these three elements are crucial to really have a very clear understanding of the data, processes, and people. But I also think that the organizational change management is something that is really highly important to have, in principle, defined the vision and case for change so that people understand why we are in the need of changing an ERP because it's a painful activity, right? So everybody needs to be aligned on the strategic goals. Why are we doing that? What will be the improvements that we expect from it? And also that we have from the very beginning a very clear understanding of what exactly we would like to achieve so that we have can avoid as good as possible the creep of changes during the implementation, right? So these are some aspects as well as that obviously one of the things that I have noticed, and I have also read last a couple of weeks some article about it. It is very important to have a name for the project, right? So people are giving names like Lighthouse, Leonardo. So 70% of the projects where a name is given apparently are much more successful than those that are not considered in that area, right? So these are a couple of things from my side that I.
That's very interesting. Give a name to the project and the chances of success. I think there's a much better emotional connect if you have a name. Absolutely, that's very interesting insight. And Nitish, how about you?
The first 90 days are all about building the foundation. Like Sri and Marcus mentioned, you should start aligning the business goals, data, and processes. That's really do securities, compliances, all of those things. This is also when we start looking ahead, how will, for example, an IoT data help us to see what's happening on the shop floor in a real time? Or how can an AI improve forecasting or automate analytics? These are in the future features. They are part of today's design thinking as such, right? So again, change management, we spoke about that already. So in short, the first 90 days are all about the clarity, data readiness, smart architecture, and future proofing. So it's like laying the runway before takeoff. If that's uneven, the flight won't be smooth.
Absolutely. Very well said. So just to summarize what the three of you are saying, uh, people, process, technology, data, alignment, strategic vision, having a name, and then setting the runway so that the project can take off. Very good. Very interesting start. And I think let's jump deeper into the topic now because we have many, many more interesting things to talk today.
I think there's a question, Kumar, from the audience already. Do we get a recording of this session? Yes, this is
Yes,
right?
very much so. Yes, this is very practically useful for you. So it would be worth watching the recording as well, even if you have attended the session. Absolutely, you will get a recording. Don't worry. So moving to the next question, what are the real drivers for an ERP initiative? Now, this is also a key point, right? Uh, we don't implement an ERP because everybody else is implementing an ERP. We implement an ERP because our organization needs to achieve certain specific goals, right? And I have seen personally a situation where when ERP was not implemented with a very specific goal in mind, the target kept slipping because there was no clarity on what they were trying to achieve. And I think this is a very, very key issue that needs to be addressed upfront. So, Marcus, what do you think are the real drivers for an ERP initiative?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as I said before, it is no fun to really make this activity. So mostly you need to have areas where you are having some problems, pains that are obliging you to move into to make a change into this direction, right? And to take technology as an enabler is something obviously that you need to consider. So having a clear idea, what are the pain points, what would you like to change, and what kind of technology will help you to achieve this kind of goals is extremely important in the initial phase, right? Yeah.
Got it.
Nitish,
Yeah,
any
Yeah, that's
yeah. Shri or Nitish?
Yeah,
would you like
so
to add
I
something?
would look at it slightly adding to what Marcus said. See, the strategic imperatives or the strategic drivers, I would probably call them. So there are three basic ingredients to that particular aspect. One is towards the growth concerning your business. Second is about the overall efficiency. And third would be your risks, basically. So people to manage these three, they basically, they become the drivers for the ERP, basically. So when you look at the growth per se, scaling up of your business, maybe potentially you are doing a global rollout, maybe you are part of any merger acquisitions, maybe you are introducing new lines of business, new business models you would be doing. So you will need, right, a better decision making. Those three comes under the, scaling up part, right? Second, with respect to operational efficiency in terms of process harmonization, process standardization, efficiency improvement, suppose you kind of do a retail and you want to enhance probably an e-com platform also to receive your orders, because we all remember COVID, wherein people could not go to retail, so suddenly all the retailers forced to go for e-com platforms. So suddenly you have a lower footprint in your physical store, your e-commerce platform gets bigger. So it's not something you kind of anticipate. Suddenly things happen, so you forecast and look at for certain operational efficiency and automations, you go for that. Most important third driver would be the risk probably arising due to compliances, the e-invoicing, statutory changes in country, SOX compliances, GDPR, so many other things. Or similarly, if you're in a pharma business, look at FDA, the controls and the audit trails are, very important. You're forced to go for automated, ERP. So that's how I look at the, drivers for the ERP needs. Yeah, that's it, Kumar, from my side.
Absolutely. So either growth or efficiency or compliance, or
Exactly.
possibly all of them.
All
It
of them.
could
Yeah,
be,
why not?
or it
Exactly.
could be some of them or all of them. And even yeah, you're adding a new location or a new plant or a
Correct.
new geography. There could be so many reasons for growth, right? Absolutely. Nitish, you would like to
Yeah,
add anything?
yeah. So the real drivers, as we spoke, is beyond upgrading the technology. That's not what we want to do. Organizations generally pursue because they want visibility, control, and scalability, as what Sri discussed sometimes back. And then there is an efficiency angle, automating a repetitive task, reducing the errors, because we want to free up the people to focus on the value rather than just the ERP or the technology at this point. That's what the driver is. But again, on modern ERP conversation now include cloud, AI, IoT, everything else, a real-time data from machines, predictive analytics, and a smart automation, for example. It's about preparing the business not just for today, in my opinion, but needs to be tomorrow's opportunities, as Sri said, maybe an acquisition or mergers. And at the heart of it, every ERP journey is about becoming more agile, more connected, and more intelligent, in my opinion.
Spot on. Absolutely. So we're talking about being able to either scale the business, become more efficient, or become more compliant, but also to use technology as an accelerator and do things you could not do before when you didn't have the technology. Beautifully said, and an excellent point. So I think when you're conceptualizing and looking at an ERP project, please do keep in mind the end goal that you're trying to achieve, and but end goal itself moves because the geopolitical situations may change, the trade situation may change, businesses may expand, mergers may happen. So many things to keep in mind when you're making a business plan for an ERP. Of course, once you have decided you want to do a ERP implementation, you want to select the right solution, right? You want to select the right solution without avoid like making any early mistakes. Is it fit for us? It's fit for our business. Is it fit for the region? So on and so many questions, right? Shri, you want to talk about your experience, personal experience in finding the right fit for your
Yeah.
customers?
Yeah, see, by and large, everybody follows a very common pattern. But what I see missing in commonality, because real-time cases, when we go for a structured selection process and an ad hoc selection process, there is a world of difference. And what is input, prorated output is received. So when you look at the selecting the right solution, there is a clear homework is required. How the strategic drivers are moving towards your definition of clear requirements vis-a-vis the scope. How essentially you are documenting your vital, essential, desirable requirements in your requirement elicitation. Evaluate the vendors, the capabilities, the partners, and the products with respect to the vital, essential, desirable, and probably score them against all the departments need, and award probably the contract. However, looking at the product, marking down, scoring the fitment of your scripted demos of this requirement, call the vendors, and go through the whole 9 yards of demonstrations. Then probably look at for references, find the right partners, actually do a proper reference check, visit your site, call a couple of customers, something very close to your business. It need not be exactly the same. Look at it. Most importantly, have an idea of total cost of ownership. Your licenses fee, your implementation fee, your customization, integration, migration costs, ongoing maintenance, everything gets included. Your disaster recovery or a business continuity plan, future proofing your system, as Nitish was saying, future upgrade cost, everything you have to look at it. Then go with a proper legal review and a contract review, put everything together in a nice structured format, and go with a trusted partner, because most of the product offer you everything. However, you identify the right partner who can help you to take you from as is to be. So you follow this process in a very systematic way, record them down. Most importantly, look at these things monthly once until you complete the project. Do an audit how you want to go. That's very important, because people miss this point. Hey, I want to go this direction, but are you going in this direction? That is something frequently you look at it. maybe somebody will engage a third-party audit company, a project management company to look at it in an independent way in order to avoid the biases. Maybe that would be a right way, I would say. I have seen people successfully doing this in the past, and you get the best of the breed, actually, if you follow this, actually. Yeah.
Absolutely, Shri. And Marcus, Nitish, you would like to add anything?
Yeah, I think spot on that point. Selecting the right ERP isn't about picking the software. It's about choosing the business partner for the future. It's very evident. And you start basically by understanding the organization, its pain point, scale, and what growth looks like. Then you evaluate the solution that can grow with you, not just fit for you today. Look for fit over feature, for example, how well the system integrates and apps and leverages new techs, for example, in AI or low code tools, as we speak about today. So I always suggest a structured evaluation, workshops, hand on demos, real world scenarios, feedback from actual users, for example, and definitely never underestimate your end users. They'll tell you things no RFP ever will. And that's very, very important, right? So at the end of the day, the goal isn't the best ERP on the paper, but the best ERP for your DNA. That's how you avoid early regrets.
Great. Spot on. Marcus, anything practical from any of your real life experience that you have something to share?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not every solution fits all, so that is obviously something that you need to consider from the very beginning. Brand is great, but could also be a hindering factor in some cases, right? So I think starting from the point of understanding exactly how large is your organization, what geographies you would like to cover, and what vertical you are in, right? So there are obviously some solutions that are very good in certain verticals, and even though they are possibly smaller from the all overall usage point of view and branding, but it could help to really get a really good and successful project if you take also this part of the medal into the decision. And
Yeah.
also not only evaluate your software, but also evaluate the implementation partner. So as Sri said, in principle, understand possibly references that you can talk to, one or two that hopefully will not only tell you good things, but also challenges that you need to consider during their implementation. And one last thing that I think is really very helpful also is to insist on a proof of concept, right?
Yes,
Most
absolutely.
of the vendors obviously would like to have the presentation of a general presentation, then a little bit of a deep dive, and then the decision. But at the end of the day, you understand only if your end-to-end process will work, if you see at least on a very high level that everything from the procurement over the manufacturing, then to the sales, goes hand in hand to the overall process.
Absolutely. Lots of critical points that each of you have mentioned, right? The solution is important more than the brand. The fitment is important more than anything else. It should fit your industry. It should fit what you want to achieve. And of course, the implementation partner has to be right. Verify, validate, make sure you're choosing the right people. Where lots and lots of critical points to be noted here, because this is the most crucial step, I think, in getting along in the right direction, right? Because after that, a lot will happen on a nuts and bolts level. But if it goes wrong here, then you're already set up for big deviation from your original plan. Very important next question. Now we're getting into the actual ERP side of things, right? How critical is it to involve change champions very early in the process, and what happens without buy-in? I have personally seen very large, very well-funded projects fail because buy-in was not there. There was a global initiative which went very well initially, but then over a period of time, because there was not enough buy-in, people started resisting and pushing back, and it just dragged on for years. I think that these are cautionary lessons and cautions that everybody needs to keep in mind. So, Shri, you want to start, and then we'll go around, because this is again a very, very crucial point.
Yeah, I'll start with a real-time example because maybe like a decade ago, we started a global rollout for a massive, largest engineering company across the globe. So they designated a set of process champions actually in the form of change agents. Every region or every country had a set of such agents actually, and they were the one who initially worked with us. Harmonizing the process. So basically, it's a very costly affair, and they help you to control your cost. Any additional customizations, if you try to provide a viable business alternate, it is a responsibility of the change agents to translate the project's vision to the reality, because they work between the end user and the actual implementation team. So they are the one whom you should use to propagate your original thought process. They speak about the process clarity, they speak about the scope discipline, because you need to make sure the project doesn't undergo a massive scope creep. So provide viable business alternatives, because 70% of the projects basically do not see the light of the day. And my understanding or my experience is the change agents, they carry a larger degree to the 80% of business transformation they bring in, and very little on the technology side, by working extensively with people and working with the consultants who would realize the assets, the to be dream. So it is a very important aspect. We must have a proper change management system. It is a two-way communication. Communicate all the time, very frequently, because it is very important to make a reinforced clarity. So in a nutshell, I would like to say it is an organizational role, who constantly look at the intended return on investment, basically, and by securing necessary user adoption. That's how their role is basically. It is a massive financial time and investment in the ERP implementation program. With a strong internal advocates, the best design system probably do not take off due to human resistance. So it's a job of the change agents to make sure, they bring in the best of both worlds to tie the overall vision to a reality. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that would be my take, Kumar. Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody else would like to add anything on this topic?
Yeah, to me, they bridge the gap between business reality and the project vision. It's straightforward. By involving the respected individuals early, for example, you turn them into the translators of change, not the victims of it. And we need to keep a note of that. And without them,
I like it.
passive resistance, incomplete testing, low adoption, and users quiet slipping back to Excel, right? So we
Yeah.
don't want that to happen, by the way. So with them, you get energy, trust, and ownership. So I like to say this, right? Technology drives systems, but champions drive adoption.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. I mean, yeah, rather than being victims, being agents of change. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, Marcus, you were about to say
Yeah.
something.
I have also a couple of things from a practical point of view.
Yeah.
So my recommendation in what I've seen in some cases is so go with not only with the people that are available, but really the people that are skilled for doing this, right? So the business owner that has the possibility to discuss things, to stand up in front of people, that has some kind of let me say yeah, position in the organization that they can make themselves understandable and defend their process or discuss also what they would like to achieve. So that is one of the takes, and then obviously from the organization point of view, it is very important to have cross-functional people. So from finance, sales, uh, from the HR or supply chain, procurement. So all the things need to go hand in hand, and everybody should be aligned on the processes, but also on, let me say, horizontal level, that you have the sponsors in the project that are going to be in the executive steering committees and program leadership, so that the ongoing communication that Sri was mentioning is on one hand side handled by those people that are using the software, but also, let me say, encouraged by the management and leaders, so that any issue that comes up immediately can be addressed and frustration can be adopted to a very early stage.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. So it's not just about identifying and involving the change champions, but also empowering them by the senior leadership to make sure they are in the right place at the right time and are able to take all the important decisions, right?
They are the eyes and ears of the management and the team. Actually, I can say that.
Absolutely, right. This is crucial. If they are not empowered, decisions will get stuck, projects will get delayed, testing will get delayed, and as Nitish was saying, passive resistance will creep in, and everything
And,
will go for a
and one
toss.
other topic that comes to my mind also from experience, so having culture in mind, right? So different cultures.
Yes.
I had one project where I was standing in front of a group and everybody was clear, okay, we want to start the project, right? And then I asked into the group, so then we can go live 1st of January. And the local consulting team was all looking into the laptops and nobody was looking up. And I thought they are calculating or what. Then after 10 minutes, they started to look up again. And then after 20 minutes, I asked the question again. And same situation, right? So 3 times. Then
Yeah.
I said, okay, hey, let's have a small break. I went to the project manager and I said, hey, what's going on? And he said, no, it's not possible to go live on 1st of January. I said, but why are you not saying it, right? He says, no, I did not want to. You have a strategy, you need to do it. I did not want to contradict you in open public, right? So
Yeah.
understand these kind of issues is super important also.
Yeah. So culture specific,
Yeah.
adjustments need to be made. Absolutely right. In some areas, people will not openly say no. Very crucial to sense that and address that. Just for everybody in the audience, if you have any questions, you can hit the Q&A box and type your question, and we'll be happy to answer it in the end. There is a lot that can be talked about in this topic, so I don't want to miss out anybody's questions. Uh, Next important point, right? You got your change agents, but then you also need to set up a core team, people who will be actually working along with the implementation partner and making sure they are aligned and they are engaged and they are motivated throughout the process. So Nitish, you want to start on this?
Yeah, I mean, building the right core team is like assembling your Avengers. That's what it is, right? So you want a blend of functional experts, IT specialists, and a strong leadership message. I think bring in your best people from finance, supply chain, production, HR folks, all of them, understand the ground reality, pair them with the IT mind who gets data integration and cloud architecture, then definitely a strong project manager to keep the rhythm, deadlines, decisions, and communication. That's the funda behind it. Keeping them aligned and all about transparency, rhythm, and purpose, daily stand-ups, for example, and shared goals. And in fact, this is very important, right? To celebrate early wins that will build the momentum against the project. So we've seen that on all of those large engagements that even try and get certain things done, but create some small reports which actually saves their time, all of those things. So you have to celebrate all of those small wins as such. So for me, strong ERP teams aren't built on hierarchy, they're built on shared ownership and open conversations. Because end of the day,
Absolutely.
ERP team fail in silos. Alignment is the real project plan.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's spot on. Anybody else would like to add anything?
Marcus, after you. I would let you speak on this. Yeah.
Yeah, in principle, we covered already a couple of aspects during the earlier phase. I
Yes.
mean, it is very important really to have from the cross-functional, yeah, different departments, the business owners involved in an early stage and have their buy-in, get their understanding that why we are doing this change, why it's important, so they also can transport it to their whole team and keep them aligned on the implementation projects, right? So I
Yep.
think this is one of the most crucial things to
Yeah.
add.
Just tying the 2 points that Nitish and Marcus mentioned. So look at the first point when we mentioned the people dimension. Essentially, Nitish also touched this point. It's a cross-functional team. It's a consultants team, the vendors team, and the organizations team. And you look at the entire RASI metric, right from the executive sponsor, project manager, consultants, the change agents, the IT people, the key users or the power users, put the whole RASI metric and define responsibilities right from definition of process as is to be executing your training strategy, executing your communication strategy, put together, and that's how you build your core system without missing any of these things. That's how you do it, and do this often. Keep the team intact, and perfectly put. It doesn't work in silos. It's one single team. As far as ERP implementation is concerned, everybody should be sitting on the same side of the table. The other challenge is on the other side of the table. If this vision is accepted in letter and in spirit, it's a sure shot success. Yeah.
Absolutely. So empowerment, alignment, communication, and transparency, I think, is the sum of what all of you were saying, right? Communication and transparency is key, and quick wins is the last but not least important point. Work towards having some quick wins in every stage of the project, so that it keeps motivating everyone, keeps pushing them in the right direction. Very, very valid. Next, now we get into the nuts and bolts of the ERP planning process. What to standardize, what to streamline, what to localize. Now, this is a big question, right? Especially for slightly bigger companies with more than one location. This can become a huge point of debate, or possibly even friction between various departments or various locations or various business units. So, Nitish, you want to start on this first?
Yeah, sure. This is obviously one of the questions every project's wrestle with. It's very evident. But my opinion, standardize the core repetitive areas: finance, procurement, inventory, order management. These are universal and benefit most from consistency, right? And then next, streamline the cross-functional flows, things like procure to pay, code to cash, to eliminate the friction. But then localize where it genuinely adds value, like tax rules, compliances, and possibly a customer-specific pricing, because geographical regions works differently. And then one golden rule: don't automate chaos, right? Because fix the process first and digitize it. Otherwise, you just get digital chaos faster. That's what you're going to get, basically. So my take on that is standardize where it drives control and localize where it drives the competitiveness.
I think this came as an audience question as well, so I think we are kind of answering it already. But yes, Shri, you want to add something here?
Yeah, I think he has put together in a very nice way. Nothing can be added more, Kumar, to be very precise, because
Absolutely. Yeah.
standardization basically goes with out-of-the-box functionalities, and you may probably streamline next inefficient processes, manual processes. You will try to optimize the siloed processes. You will optimize, and localization basically goes with mostly statutory, regulatory, obligations, and you can't escape. There is no way you can live it. So there is a taxman or any other authority waiting for you to make a mistake, and you get penalized. So it's a no-brainer. So absolutely spot on. We wouldn't want to add anything, but most importantly, never skip planning. The processes that you are intending to standardize, spend a lot of time in planning. Do not miss out any of these items. So in a hurry, probably if you try to do, you may miss out them. Document them clearly. Spend good time in planning. That will help you to implement them thoroughly. Perfect, Nitish. You did it correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. Marcus, you would like to add something?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I also would like to add, also out of my experience, is that often you start to build templates, right? If you want to roll out into many countries. So also here on standardization, I think it is important to understand that if you have, for example, a big manufacturing site and only a small finance or sales site, then the process needs to be different. So you need to also possibly think of 2 or 3 different templates that at the end of the day will feed into the finance, and you will get your consolidated numbers, but do not overcomplicate the business for the local teams, right? And make sure that you streamline the processes accordingly to what is really needed, and don't have too much frustration for the small sites then to use such a big system, right?
Absolutely. I think very crucial. I think a very, very important aspect of making sure the project is successful, standardize the core, the standard functions like sales, finance, etc., which are very common, localize for statutory or regulatory requirements, but keep in mind that more than one template may be needed because some sites may not be aligned with the same business process that the rest of the company follows because they are small sites. Don't give them a monster to ride. Give them a lean and mean system that they can use easily. Very useful. Thank you so much. And that brings us to the elephant in the room, so to speak, right? This is the most complex, painful task of any ERP project. Unfortunately, many times this gets relegated to the end when it has become a critical activity, which I think I personally have a slightly different perspective because let's go around and ask Nitish. You have probably the most hands-on experience on this in the last few years because you've been deeply involved in multiple implementations yourself. Would you
Yeah,
like?
true. I was also part of the data team for a very long time, along with the OEM, basically. Well, my answer is very, very straightforward. Always, I mean, always clean before you migrate. As simple as that. Right? It is always tempting to push bad data forward and promise to fix it later. But bad data just travels faster in the new system as always. And it's because mostly, you will then start chasing wrong reports, false insights, decision making will go wrong on a task. We don't want to happen that. So start early, assign data owners, define standards, run test migrations, make it a business effort rather than an IT cleanup. As simple as that,
Yep.
because that's generally what it happens. So clean data builds trust. We all know that from the day one,
Yep.
and it drives the adoption much more faster than anything else as such, right?
Yep.
Because end of the day, data is the fuel of ERP. We all know that. If it's dirty,
Yep.
the engine won't run right. So
Yep.
that's my 2 pence on that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's garbage in, garbage out to put it in a much more blunt fashion, right? Yeah.
We can say good in, good out, Kumar.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of that, put the ingredients and get your dish.
Good
Instead
in,
of
good out,
putting
yeah.
garbage and get garbage, yeah, put ingredients,
Yeah.
get the dish. Yeah.
At
So
least you can embed this as a process because as I was explaining from the first point, have a
yeah,
plan for data. The way you are having a project plan, have a data plan. Okay,
yes,
every toll gate, because all these things happen in a staged manner. You have a preparation phase, you have a design phase, you have a analysis, you have a validate, you have a go live phase. You have different phase stages, right? Each of the stages have some degree of maturity for the underlying data. It
yeah,
could be quite crude when you start the engagement, and put a refinement plan, and keep working towards optimizing this plan as you go forward. Most importantly, Nitish touched this point. Okay, whenever you define a process, a major process, minor process, sub process, tie up your data element against each of the process and assign the data champions. The way you have a process champion, assign data champion, because the business must take ownership of the data. It is not the job of a consultant, it's not the job of the IT guy to clean the data. The business has to take the ownership of the data. And with a clear plan, you can kind of circumvent this issue to a larger extent. We have seen this happening. If you do not have a plan, then there is no point in rushing towards the go live date. Hey, why my data is not clean? Then you go with a half baked data. Then we end up getting into a wrong result. So that's a very practical way of looking at it. Have a plan for data as well. That's a very key thing I want to probably take submit from my side. Yeah,
yeah.
Marcus,
You
over to
brought
you,
that.
Marcus. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, in principle, we have done that experience. I think when we joined 2011, we have started working on this methodology and bringing in a data migration plan in the methodology, right? So that we
Yeah.
have
yeah,
for each
Correct.
step a step-by-step approach. And at the end, only at the very end, we really are 100% sure that we are importing the right data. I mean, how much implementations have we seen with the same product and same processes in principle, and at the end, one failed and one went well because the data was not clean, right? And then we had to fix it 3, 4, 5 months later. Still, the issues comes up because of clean data at the beginning. So that is really my take. Also, it's super important to have clean data at the very beginning.
Just one more point to add, Kumar. I
Yes,
forgot to mention this actually. It's very important. Even after you take the product live, have a policy while you introduce the master records, like adding a customer master or a supplier master or a part master. Let it undergo through a process. Why would you add a part master? Who is authorized to do that? And at what point you will do that? Is it a local part? Is it a global part? What kind of a workflow when you introduce a new data element? So these are all certain policies you might want to look through while you implement the ERP. Is something I want to add. Sorry, Marcus. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, but
No,
yes.
this also
Yeah.
gives a perspective of naming conventions and so on and so forth for the data that we're actually trying to put forward. So, for example, if a part number is named 1, 2, 3, 4, there may be a reason behind it. But there's already a lot of theory behind how to name your part numbers or customers. And so it's easy for the people to understand on the shop floor, or a person is manufacturing it. It gets an opportunity for them to look through just by looking through the data points and figure it out. Hey, this is what it is meant to be. So those sort of perspectives can be also taken care of.
So,
absolutely.
see, in all this, right, I'm just synthesizing one crucial point here. The business will know which data is the right data. So they are by default going to do the best job at it. Yes, it is the responsibility of the management to spare time of the business for this activity, because it's not a secondary activity, but this is potentially a primary reason for the project to succeed or fail, right? You can't fix an arbitrary go live date and then try to squeeze in a little bit of data cleanup, or say, oh, okay, we'll go live and then clean up later, because we have seen multiple instances where this has led to a huge challenge. Yeah. We are actually running out of time. We have a lot of audience questions as well. So maybe we can keep the next two a little quick. We have, I think, down to the last question, or last but one question. But it is a very important question. So I do not wish to skip this question. How important are integrations? ERPs don't live in a silo. An ERP is only as effective as the systems it talks to and output it produces based on the input it receives. So, who would like to start on this very, very crucial point? And Nitish, you want to start first?
Nitish is a tech man, so start with Nitish.
Yeah.
No, I like the question first. So yes, that shows. So integrations definitely are the glue that turn ERP into an ecosystem today, and we all know that. And again, it is the digital backbone of a connected enterprise. We're not talking about just an ERP system today. We have mobile applications developed, supplier portals developed, IoT sensor talking to the machines, AI dashboards that we were talking about, depending on the smooth real-time integrations as such. So these are the factors that we need to consider. So that's why interoperability, scalability, and API readiness need to be part of the architecture from the day one. You can't just bold them on later point in time, because then it wouldn't fit into the realm of what you're thinking. So my modern ERPs again, must evolve from a system of records to a system of engagement from my point of view. As we said, like Kumar mentioned, the ERP must be able to talk, listen, and learn across the platforms as such. So it's very, very important that we need to keep an eye on the interoperability, scalability, and API readiness as a part of the architecture.
Just want to add here to supplement what you're saying, Nitish, is that it should be a part of your selection checklist, right? That how well can the ERP integrate with what you already have and what you might buy tomorrow, because it's not just about what you have today, but you may buy some external systems tomorrow. Since we are nearly out of time, any quick thoughts from anyone else? Otherwise, I'll jump to the final question of the day. and then we'll take some audience questions.
It is like a non-negotiable point, Kumar, because any incoming order needs to be integrated from your customer's portal. The
Yeah,
government is mandating your e-invoicing to happen through integration. So if you want to stay
yeah,
in business, you have a better software to get integrated. With a little bit of thermodynamics, I will close it. You must choose a software
yeah,
with the lowest software entropy. That's how I'll say.
yes,
A very minimal disorder, right? So you can go
yeah,
with something with proper contemporary technology, any REST-based, technology you must use. And best of the breed systems build a heterogeneous system. Pick up whatever you want. That's how you build a
yes,
better enterprise system. So that's a key.
yes.
Maybe we can keep this as a separate topic on another day. Sorry, Kumar. Go ahead.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know, I know. In fact, there's an audience question exactly on this, but I was thinking, to what depth we can go because we have done this and there's a lot we can share. But how to integrate successfully data and AI readiness right from the start? I think we did answer. Shri spoke about it, Nitish spoke about it, Marcus spoke about it. Just like you have your process plan, please have a data plan and a data harmonization plan. It should be in every step of the process. What are my data sources? Where are they going to? What is valid data? Who owns this piece of data for this sub process? Where is it going to go into the ERP? All this should be part of your project plan from day one, not 10 days before going live. That will lead to huge challenges. So, Peter, I hope that answers. AI readiness, of course, it depends on the product. Not all ERPs support AI, only certain ERPs support AI. But I don't want to jump the gun. Anybody has anything to add here for
Yeah.
Peter's question?
Maybe Nitish, you can touch base on the IDC, the intelligent document
Yeah.
management stuff. I can also add one more case, the real case. So start with you, and I will probably
No, yeah. So
augment.
today's world, we have this opportunity to automate the AP invoices coming from the supplier straightforward. So we do have the intelligent data capture. It's an AI-based self-learning, machine learning systems which tries to understand the data and then process it internally, and then creates in an ERP for the invoices. So as with the orders that's come from the suppliers, right? So these are a common usage patterns that's actually happening at this point. Now we have chat-based ERP systems where it allows you to just interact with it on a conversation basis, and it allows you to get back the results. Like, for example, you want to look for the top 10 orders or top 10 return material authorizations, etc. So those are the things that's going to add a lot of value rather than before you used to create a report or a dashboard, but today it's all ad hoc. You can go ask the system, it's going to respond to you as a human. That's a big plus as such when you select an ERP.
Yeah, I'll
Absolutely.
just add a little bit on this, Kumar, because
Mhm.
any AI model, basically you build a mathematical expression, and you have your own testing data strategy. You can take 20%, 30% of your data as a testing item. So I mean, training data, we kind of build these models, train them using the data that is present. The IDC typically works on that. They train
Yeah.
the model with a 95% upwards of accuracy. The
Mhm.
model is ready for production. That's how Nitish and company, they deploy it in the system, and we did not have any problem so far. The model has its own deep learning capabilities as well. This is with respect to product on IDC. There are a lot of other things we are doing on the AI front, on the forecasting tools. Basically, historical informations are there, and there are algorithms on the statistical side, winter smoothing and other things. Takes the minimal error and tells you this is the heuristics you must use. And there are data underlying historical information you judiciously park to train the model, test the model, and put it in the live production. And once it is in production, the deep learning takes care of on its own. And with currently on the Epicor world that we are kind of looking at strongly, the Prism as a technology backbone for AI supports the RAG actually. That is something we would like to take on another day actually
Yes,
because
I
of the
think
time. Yeah.
that's exactly why I was a little apprehensive.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting topic and it potentially is a full-length session on its own. So I'll do a quick wrap up and then we'll take a couple of audience questions. Though there are several, we will get back to anyone who's raised a question with the answer in case we are not able to cover it in the next 5 minutes. Uh, Quickly, each of you, looking back, what is the one lesson you learned that you would like to highlight to the audience? Keep it really short so that we can take a couple of audience questions.
Well, I'll start, Kumar. I know I'm coming from a technology background and everything else, but the one big lesson it is this: never underestimate the human side of it. As simple as that. The technology can fix a process, but only people can make it thrive. You can recover from possibly a design flaw, but not from a lack of trust or communication as such. So the best project I have seen where the one team talks openly, involve end users and the users early, and in fact, as I mentioned a couple of times, celebrate the progress, even the small win. End of the day, technology enables change, but people sustain it. As simple as that, right?
So
So that's
people,
why I always say ERP is 20% technology.
Nikish, for a guy that is only normally IT related, you have one sentence that is really like 10 sentences. Incredible.
Yeah.
So, from my perspective,
yeah,
my takeaway one sentence would be that take advantage of technology, but use best practice standard processes in the system and avoid as good as possible the customizations. Right?
absolutely. Yeah. Shri?
I would take like one simple point. Be realistic, set reasonable expectations, and have patience. Yeah, be realistic. Things will
Yeah.
fall in place. Yeah.
So just to quickly summarize the key points, right? People are the most important asset for an ERP project. Keep it standard as much as possible, avoid customization, keep it realistic, avoid ambitious plans that may bound to be failed, right? Now we have just a couple of minutes, so I'll just quickly talk about who we are and then we take the questions, right? We are Ryan. Okay. All of us have been colleagues for a very, very long time. We work extensively in the ERP domain. We are a premium partner. We also do SAP and Microsoft Dynamics projects. We are spread across the world and we've done more than 50 ERP implementations across 42 countries. And we have close to 120, 130 people in our ERP practice. Many of them are certified professionals, more than 100. And we are also a cloud distribution partner in the Middle East region. We also do a lot of product development on top of the product. We are good at migration, upgrades, cloud implementation, rollouts, etc. We've done for one single customer rollout in more than 25 countries, for example. So this is a little bit about us, and I will quickly take some of the audience questions, which were very crucial. We have just a couple of minutes, right? If I'll take an important one coming from Vijay Priya. How do you manage conflicting priorities among departments and create a single version of the truth? I think this goes back to our standardization and a localization aspect of it. Who would like to take this quickly?
Process definition basically goes as an overlap. That's when the conflicting priorities happen. You must have a very clear distinction in terms of the process definition, approval metric, and what data needs to be consumed by who. With that, demarcation, you must have a very clear identification in terms of, who gets to see what and, how long. So that is a policy we must be able to configure and work through within our systems, actually.
Yeah, I think, and you should work very closely with your
Yeah.
consultants as well, right? To
Yeah.
make sure that the policies are implemented so that conflicting
Exactly.
priorities can be addressed. And of course, the project plan must factor enough
Yeah.
reviews to address this so that things don't deviate. What are the early warning indicators that things are going off track? This is another question and a relevant question. I think we didn't speak about it.
I mean, typically you have in the project plan clearly defined scopes and tasks that you are then giving to the different owners. And normally you should also have reoccurring steering committee meetings where you understand where we are behind. And if you keep really this methodology in a continuous involvement during the project, you will understand very early where you are facing a couple of risks, be it in time, be it in budget, be it from resources that possibly are ill or need to move out, whatever, right? And you can take early action and mitigate, right? So I
Yeah.
think this is my experience, at least that I learned from all my implementation.
Yes. So track the smallest things, and anything going wrong, immediately do a risk evaluation to see what is the impact. Absolutely right, Marcus. We have no more time. There are several more questions, so I really apologize to whoever's questions haven't been answered, but we will certainly send you a response with your question answered. That's all we have time for today. And if you found it interesting, do let us know, and we will definitely continue this series because this is a very, very important and critical task for many of you who are in this business. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And thank you, my fellow speakers, for a very insightful session.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.